Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with a Senna updated complete guide for patch 3.4, and most of you guys probably knew this was coming. We have the new support item, and basically the only ADC that is truly a support is Senna. Now, of course, we do have the double support item, like meta starting to creep in, and probably ADCs will also be going for a support item. But likely that they will patch that sooner rather than later, and only actual supports can take support items. But anyways, obviously Senna is a support, and now the whole issue with Senna is, of course, that you cannot farm because you need your soul stacks. And now with the support item, you can get so much gold from the support item that you can get comparable gold to your ADC, and at the same time get the soul stacks from not farming. So now Senna is super duper strong. Now, of course, the best way to play Senna is still to duo and play with either a mage support or a tank support. But honestly, I feel that now, even if you play in solo queue and you have a double ADC bot lane, if you're confident enough that you can carry and there is some sort of front line on your team, I think that you can even play Senna in that way. So anyways, as with the rest of our updated complete guides, you can refer to the original one to look at the skills and leveling order in the interest of time, and we're going to jump straight into the build. Alright, so here is the build for Senna, and actually I haven't really changed this up too much. I normally go something more like this, and there are a lot of optional items as well, which I have not really added yet. Actually, I added one of them, but alright, so first up, obviously, we're going to jump straight into it. We're going to go for the Spectral Sickle. Now, Spectral Sickle, what it does, obviously, it's a support item. You get less gold from farming minions, which you don't want to do anyways. And when you deal damage to the enemies or the structures, you get like 30 gold, and you get one stack of this every 10 seconds, so it's really, really easy to stack it up. And when you get to 500 gold, it evolves, and you get another 500 gold, it evolves again. And when it goes to its maximum evolution, which is the Black Mist Scythe, you will have like a 40% reduction in your boot enchant when you get takedowns, which is going to be really, really useful. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about the boot enchants. So next up, I like to go for actually the Mana Mune. So the Mana Mune, now the reason why I go for this like carry Senna build now is because you get so much gold so quickly that it makes a lot of sense to go for more damagey items so you can carry harder. So I like to go for the Mana Mune all the time next, which of course will increase her, just her basic attack damage and her Q damage. Like in general, you will hit like a truck when you evolve it into the Mirror Mana. Next up, we talk about the boots and the boot enchant. Alright, so first up, we always want to go for Ionian Boots of Lucidity, because Senna is so squishy. If you go for any of the defensive boots, you'll just die really easily anyway. You don't need this because Black Cleaver already gives you that stat, and this is not to use because you attack really, really slow and you can't proc a lot of lifesteal. So you pretty much always go for Ionian Boots of Lucidity. Now for the enchant, you actually have a ton of options. Now the first option is the selfish option, which is going for Stasis. So if you are the one that's hard carrying, it might make more sense to go for like a stasis to protect yourself instead of going for a more team supportive enchant. So the next option you have, of course, is Locket, but Locket got really nerfed, so unless you're against a heavy AP team, Locket's not going to be too useful at all. Next, you have the Proto Belt for mobility and Quicksilver enchant for the CC immunity if you need like mobility in that particular match, or if you really need the CC cleansing, because some matches you do have a lot of CC, and if you get CC, you're just dead. So that makes a lot of sense. And next up, we actually have the two like more supportive options, which is the Redemption. Now Redemption is the enchant I recommend going for the most, because combined with the support item, you'll be able to spam your Redemption a lot, and this will give your team a lot of like heals overall. And the other option that the other actually two options that you have, so the another supportive option you have is the Ionian, not Ionian, you have the Protect enchant. So this one will boost your next healing or shielding ability. You can use this in conjunction with either your ultimate or in conjunction with your Q, both of which is really, really good. Now I haven't actually tested this yet, but I've heard that it does work very well. And the final option is actually the Meteor enchant, believe it or not. Now this is, of course, it neither protects you nor does it have utility for your team. So I think that is one of the reasons why it is a little bit like probably the least likely option to go for. However, you cannot discount the fact that you can do a huge amount of damage to all 5 people, especially at dragon fights and that kind of thing. So I think that Meteor enchant definitely has some potential. as an enchant that you can pick. Alright, so now we're going to get into the rest of the build. Next up, we have the Divine Sunderer. So Divine Sunderer, as you guys can see, of course gives you all the, like, the max health, ability haste, and attack damage. And you mainly have it for two reasons. Firstly, the Spell Blade, where you deal bonus damage after each spell cast. And secondly, the Armor Shred and Healing, which you also get from the passive. Of course, she's ranged, so you do get a little bit reduced amounts, but it's still really good. And then we go for Black Cleaver. Now, I actually don't go for Black Cleaver in every single matchup. I actually go for Black Cleaver only in matchups where I have at least one or two other AD damage deals in my team. Now, although the stats of like the Black Cleaver's health, ability haste, and attack damage is really good, as well as the Rage passive. But honestly, I think that the Sunder passive, you can proc it 6 times anyway. You can proc it like maybe 3 or 4 times on an enemy, unless you really kite them all the way out. But I think it really doesn't help if it only benefits yourself, and you're better off going for other items instead of the Black Cleaver. And yeah, but if there is one or two other AD damage dealers on your team, which most of the time there are, going for Black Cleaver can be good. And finally, we ended up with the Maul Reminder for the armor penetration, grievous wounds, and attack damage. So of course, you generally, like, after you get like your mana, I mean, you generally want to get the what's that part called, the Executioner's Calling, early, because you of course want to get an anti-heal. Now, you can also go for the Serelda's Grudge, but honestly, in this current mana, there is so much healing all over the place that it really kind of makes more sense to go for like the Moral Reminder in almost every match, because there's just so much healing. So now I'm going to talk about a lot of the optional items that you can get, and I actually haven't really updated this, so kind of my bad for that. Here we have a couple, so hang on. Alright, there we go. So here we have the couple of optional items you can get. So most of the time, these items will replace the Black Cleaver, and actually the build order of this is pretty much any. You can go anyway. The Spectral Sickle, the Manamune, and the Boot item is generally going to be your first 3 items all the time, and the Boot enchant will be right after that, because you want to take advantage of these Black Mist Scythe's passive. Then your last 3 items can basically be changed around in terms of order depending on what you have. Like if I'm playing with a full AD team, I might go for Black Cleaver first. Generally, I'll go for the second. But if I'm, like, for example, against a lot of shielding, I might go for the Serpent's Fang right after I go for the Boot enchant. So the order can really be switched up a lot. Yeah, but so let me talk about the optional items. So first up, we have the Rapid Fire Cannon. This is of course, give you increased range, and this is generally better against squishy teams, because by the time you get this later on in the game, you generally would have a lot of damage already, and sometimes one auto attack can do like a third at the health of a squishy target, especially because you have the Manamune. So this is what you generally will go for if you are against a very squishy team. You probably won't get the Black Cleaver, and you probably will get this instead. Next up, you have the Runan's Hurricane. Now this is very useful for just spreading the damage between enemies. Now I personally never go for this because I don't actually like taking Runan's Hurricane on Senna, but I can't deny the fact that it works, and a lot of people actually do go for it, so you have that. Now, in matches where there are a lot of assassins, and like maybe you're carrying really hard and you really need to not die, GA is of course always going to be an option as well. But of course, after the price increase, it really doesn't feel good to build GA anymore. But of course, if you need it, you need it. So whatever price it is, you're going to have to pay. So we have the GA as well. And lastly, we have the 2 lethality items. So first up, we have Edge of Night. Now Edge of Night of course gives you the armor pen as well as health and AD, but what you really want from it is that spell shield. So the spell shield of course blocks the next hostile ability that hits you. So if there are, like, you know, a lot of champions that you want to block, like for example, you have like a Blitzcrank Nautilus kind of champion that you need to you know, immune the spell shield. And in fact, even poke champions like Ziggs, sometimes you really actually want to immune that bomb, because that bomb does way too much damage to you. So sometimes Age of Night is the way to go. And lastly, Serpent's Fang, which is the brand new item, gives you ability haste and attack damage, gives you 12 armor penetration, as well as the Shield Reaver passive, which of course, basically, long story cut short, counters shields. So if there's a lot of shielding on the enemy team, you want to get Serpent's Fang, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So for the runes and spells, pretty briefly now. For the runes, you always want to go for Kraken Slayer now because Kraken Slayer gives you a lot more damage than the Grasp of the Undying. Although Grasp of the Undying is still a viable rune option, but I think Kraken Slayer is just better. Giant Slayer you're going to take in basically every match because every match is going to be one or two tanky characters that can be shredded by Giant Slayer anyways, and no other domination rune really helps Senna all that much. Then, of course, you go for Nullifying Orb for that shield that triggers when you're low health. And finally, you go for the Hunter Genius for better CDR on all your abilities. And for the spells, actually, I forgot to mention something for the build. If you go for something like a Stasis, or like a Proto Belt, a more selfish enchant that's not team-oriented, you can actually sell your support item when you reach full build, and I replace it with another item, which is really rare. But yeah, just going to throw that in there. So for the spells, there's actually a lot of options. Depends on what your ADC really goes for. You can of course go for like exhaust if your ADC doesn't have it. If they do have it, you can go for like a heal. Technically, you can even go for something like a barrier, but that's a little bit more selfish of an enchant. So generally, it's between barrier and heal. Not barrier and heal, exhaust and heal. Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much it for the Senna items, runes, and spells. Now we can move on to talking about the gameplay. Alright, so here we have the gameplay itself. So as usual, I'm going to remind you guys to of course like, comment, and subscribe. And of course any questions or queries, remarks, anything, just leave them in the comments below and I will be sure to of course address them. So as we mentioned, of course we're starting off with the Spectral Sickle. And yeah, we're going to show you guys how easy it is to proc the Spectral Sickle and Senna. Now here, Thresh just randomly walks into the lane, so we're just gonna like randomly auto attack him a couple of times. I get a soul and proc 2 stacks of Spectral Sickle, but honestly that's just because he just randomly walked up, so that's probably not the best example of how you do that. I think sometime in the laning phase I will show you how you can proc all 3 stacks at one time, and that's pretty much what you want to do, because when you pretty much want to auto Q auto and use your Q to cancel your first auto animation to get the most DPS in one go. So what this will do is number 1, proc 3 stacks of Spectral Sickle, number 2, proc Kraken Slayer for the damage, and number 3, extract a soul. So you get like, you know, 3 for 1 deal there just by doing that one basic combo. Alright, so here I hit the root. I'm just gonna go in and Seraphine gets the kill. Really easy, really simple. Of course, if Senna catches people with the root, really easy to get kills in the lane. It's a decent duration root, and also it can hit onto both people. So yeah, here we're chunking out the Lucian as well. And yeah, pretty good start to the laning phase. So here I'm going to queue through the minions to just poke him and proc the Spectral Sickle. You don't always have to go for the auto Q auto combo because it's really hard to do that actually because of her slow attack speed and how you have to get up close and personal with the enemies. And here we have a Thresh which makes it a little bit difficult. So here Vi is coming in, hits me airborne, and I get the root onto her. Seraphine chains CC for the stun, and we pretty much just survive the gank. No real issues there, and actually we come out on top. Vi gets completely chunked out, so does Lucian. I'm gonna go back and take the fruit. Seraphine gets engaged upon actually by the Thresh and Lucian, but she is completely fine. And here we're gonna just focus down the Thresh. Seraphine heals to stay alive, and we can just finish off the Thresh like so. So really good start to the laning phase. We're pretty much smacking their faces in. We do have already 3 kills between the two of us, and now we can get back and get ourselves some items. So here you guys can see I am on 13 souls and I have 403 stacked onto the Spectral Sickle. So here I'm going to get the tier and the longsword. Of course you want to be getting the tier as early as possible, more than the Caulfield's Warhammer, because you want to start stacking the tier. So pretty decent already. It's only 2 minutes plus into the game already. We have 13 stacks, 13 souls I mean, and we already almost have our first evolution on our item. So really quickly, Senna does it really quickly as I mentioned. So here you guys can see we have all 3 stacks of the Spectral Sickle. So this is when we want to of course go and proc it. So let's see if we can actually get that done. We know that Thresh is in the bush there. He's made it really obvious that he's walked into that bush. So we don't want to stand at a spot that we can get hooked by him. Here in he comes. So auto Q a W in that scenario to get the root. So here we actually get the combo onto them, and we're actually winning before Galio comes on in. The Ignite ends up killing the Senna, and because I walk back to body block for her, I die as well. I'm not the Senna, the Seraphine, I'm sorry. If I just let her die, pretty sure that I would have survived there, but the best case scenario was for both of us to get out. In the end, we ended up with the worst case scenario where both of us died. So here we're going to take a look at what our teammates are doing. So here, Ireland comes in for the cleanup, gets flayed away, gets stunned, and dies to the Lucian, feeds Lucian a kill. Camille comes in, ults the Thresh, dies to the Lucian, feeds Lucian a kill as well. So, you know, normal solo queue stuff. Your whole team just comes over and feeds your lane for no good reason. And yeah, we're gonna have to deal with that. So here Thresh is 1 HP though, so Thresh is gonna have to be careful here. He's gonna walk all the way back, obviously. Lucian, however, a little bit more lazy. He doesn't want to walk all the way back, so as a result, we can kind of try to disrupt him in his back. Of course, because we don't want him to go back. So here Vi comes in, but it isn't really too much of an issue. I get the root onto Lucian, and we are able to get the kill onto Lucian. Now we're left 1v1 against the Vi. Here I'm going for the ult, and I do manage to snipe her out with the ultimate. And we are able to pick up the kill onto the Vi as well. And as a result, I pick up the red buff. And as a result of picking up the red buff, I end up taking tower aggro because I hit the Thresh before he hooked me. And I'm actually still taking tower aggro. And now I would have stepped up front to allow Seraphine to extend the range of her ultimate so that she can hit the Thresh. And we probably kill the Thresh there. So sometimes getting red buff is a little bit unfortunate. But anyways, here we're gonna use the Curse of the Black Mist to get the movement speed to run away from Lucian's ultimate. And yeah, so here now at this point, we already have the mana immune. We are starting to stack it out. We have 25 souls, and we are at the second stage of the support. I am already halfway stacked. So you should be your item should be fully stacked roughly like 8 minutes or so into the game, I believe, or maybe even 7 minutes or so into the game. So now, both junglers are now in the bot side, kind of contesting the Herald. So in the meantime, we're back to a 2v2 in the top lane, which, as we know, is going fine for us, at least before our team started feeding Lucian kills and making the lane hard for us. So here, we're just going to, of course, ward to make sure no one is coming, although we can practically see everybody at the bottom side of the map. I try to ult down to help them out, but unfortunately, the enemy team is able to secure the Rift Herald. So not too successful there. Thresh flashes forward to Flamey and gets the hook. I try to flash out, but it's a little bit too much damage, and we end up both dying to the enemy bot lane, unfortunately. So I pretty much think that if my team didn't defeat the Lucian, he wouldn't have the damage to kill us there. And I think that we actually would have been able to turn that with the charm into tower and actually get the kill on one or both of them. But Lucian got a couple of kills, got the damage, and yeah, it is what it is because that's how the game goes. You're playing in a team, not just 2v2. Alright, so here obviously there's a big skirmish happening at the bottom side of the map, so I'm seeing if I can kind of rotate there and make anything happen. Doesn't really look like the case because I'm a little bit too far away. There's chasing the Gwen all the way in, which I don't really think is a good idea. I try to snipe her out, but I miss the ultimate, and now Seraphine is stuck in between all the enemies. So here I'm just waffling pretty much back and forth because I was thinking of just attacking the wave because this fight is really bad, and my team starts going in one by one, and then I'm thinking like, should I actually help them or not? I really actually gets a kill. I come in and I realize that my team is dead. So here I go for the Gwen, which is the only person I can actually attack, and I'm actually just attacking whoever I can, that being the Gwen. I get the 2-man root actually, and here Gwen chases me a little bit too far, so I get the auto Q auto combo to get the kill onto her, and I get the root onto Thresh as well as the soul extraction before actually making my getaway. So you can see that I do decent damage already despite not even having the Mirror Mana yet. I still only have the Mana Immune, but I still do pretty good damage. Of course, just from the stacks that I got because Seraphine was the one farming. So here Lucian back in a really dangerous position. He is paying attention though, so he doesn't actually get caught out by my root. But we do actually end up cancelling his back, and we're going to do that again. We're going to cancel his back again so that he doesn't have full resources and doesn't get to buy items. Of course, the dragon has already been up for like the past 3 minutes, just that no one is really doing it. So here, of course, there's going to be like a dragon fight coming up. I believe I have my support item fully stacked already, if I'm not mistaken. But here, the Camille goes in. I hit the ult, and the Seraphine hits the charm, so we do get a pretty good combo. Gwen is immune, so we can't really attack her until now. Seraphine's passive, not Seraphine's passive, Darius' passive is able to finish her off, but Seraphine gets caught by the Thresh hook, so I'm gonna have to run away. Left in a 1v3 scenario that, of course, I do not win. So here I'm gonna have to just walk back to base. As you guys can see, we do have the support item fully completed, and here we also have the model reminder, of course. And since my team has a lot of AD champions, everybody except Seraphine, I'm going for the Black Cleaver next. And here is where the enemy team makes a huge mistake. They do the dragon, but they're all really low, and Camille is up. She gets the dragon. Here I'm just cleaning house. I'm getting the kills. As you guys can see, boom, I get a triple. I flash over, so Lucian cannot kill me. And here we're on the chase for Lucian. Lucian actually manages to get a kill onto the Irelia. Gwen, in the meantime, is behind me, just throwing needles into my back and snipping away. But here we're 1v3 against the Gwen. But unfortunately, two of us are ranged, and Gwen is immune, so this is an issue. So we do end up eventually, her shroud runs out, so now we actually do damage to her now. So here we're on the chase. I heal the Seraphine up a little bit. The speed boost from the Seraphine W helps us to catch up to her, and we do actually pick up the kill. Eventually Galio comes in, but too little too late, and yeah, we are able to actually secure that kill onto the Gwen. So in that whole course of events, I basically got 4 kills and 1 assist. Now this is where the goal really swings for me. I do have my Mirror Mana evolved as well. I now have the Black Cleaver as well as the Sheen. Now if you look at my goal, I have 9k gold. Look at the goal of everybody else in the game. The only person that's even close is Lucian with basically the same amount of gold as me. Nobody else is even close. So here there's a huge skirmish around the Rift Herald, of course, because the Herald is up. And my team trying to find a way to actually get into the fight. The enemy team is someone you don't want to walk face check into and just walk right at them, because they have a Vi, a Galio, and a Thresh that can catch you out really easily. So we want to, of course, proceed with caution. So here I walk back a tad too far, but here I am back in the fray. Get the root onto the Vi, but I barely miss out on getting the kill. You guys can see my damage. I'm doing a lot of damage already to the enemies. Gwen comes in again. Can't really do too much to her. I do get the exhaust onto her, and Seraphine is actually able to escape barely, and I also am able to escape barely. Gwen continues the chase, gets hit by the root, gets hit by the ult, and dies. So again, another enemy over chases, another enemy dies. We kite them out. And yeah, so we're doing pretty good at this point. Now, as you guys can see, you sometimes end up with a lot of item components because the support item takes up a slot. So I have like the Sheen item component, I have the like Mole Reminder item components. So I have to wait for a lot of gold before I can actually get my entire Divine Thunderer. And as I mentioned, of course, in this game, I do make the mistake of not going for the enchantment early, and I go for the enchantment really late actually. So that is kind of something I learned after this game, that I should probably go for an early enchant to take advantage of the support item, but I don't actually do it in this game. But yeah, we still have like by far the most gold in the game, even though we're playing support. So yeah, you know, it is what it is. Something to note though is that my team is actually still behind in gold overall. If you take a look, we're 41k to 43k, so the enemy team is still doing pretty well because the rest of my team is not doing too well. Alright, so here we're gonna just dodge out away from the Lucian culling. Lucian has to dash away. I don't want to put myself in an overextended position to auto-attack the Lucian, so I'm gonna back off a little bit. And I'm gonna wait for my team to go in. There, in goes Camille, and in goes the Seraphine ultimate. I'm gonna ult across to give my team the shield. Galio comes in. I'm gonna have to walk away from him. Now I'm just attacking whoever is in my range, basically, whoever I can actually hit. Generally it's not gonna be the Lucian because he's a little bit far away. I think I'm hitting like the Galio and the Vi, just hitting whoever I can really. Yeah. Alright, so we pick up another soul, and because we chunk all of them out, they're all gonna have to recall to actually get the health. So here I'm actually able to just attack the tower together with my team, and we're able to actually pick up the mid lane tier 2 tower. So here we're gonna just use the mist to go further away, and Darius back in a really dangerous position, barely makes it out without Lucian catching him. And yeah, so here there is a wave in the top lane that needs to be pushed out. So before we back, we're actually gonna quickly just push out this top wave. And actually the enemy summoned the Rift Herald in the top lane, so I'm gonna cancel my back to actually go and stop the Rift Herald. At this point in time, I think I can actually buy my Divine Thunderer already. So I kind of really want to back to buy the Divine Thunderer, and the Dragon is coming up as well. Alright, so here we do get rid of the Rift Herald, which does absolutely nothing. And as a result, we actually have the push to actually get this tower. So here, we're going to just quickly get the tower. Like so, and I'm just quickly going to just back on the spot because my whole team is around me. If anyone comes, they can help me out. So no big issues there. I get the Divine Thunderer. And in the meantime, apparently the enemy team has gotten Baron. So that's where they were this entire time. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really suspect that at all. I just found it weird, like where did all of the enemies go? But anyways, it doesn't matter. We have a team fight happening in the Dragon Pit area. Lucian goes down at the very beginning of the fight. So their main damage is already gone. Everybody else tries to go in on the enemy team as well. I'm just gonna attack whoever I can, as I mentioned. In this case, it's the Gwen. I'm taking a lot of health away from the Gwen. Seraphine passive ends up killing the Gwen. Vi comes back in. Vi dies as well. And only Galio is left alive. So that Baron take literally did them nothing. So here, because they have Baron buff, I'm actually chasing them down. Here I could have actually flash W the Galio, but I wasn't confident I was going to hit it. So I decided to just let him go. And instead go for the most logical alternative, which is to actually just start the dragon. Alright, so here we're doing a 3-man dragon. Only Galio is alive, so pretty much it's gonna be free. And yeah, so we do secure ourselves the dragon. Just warding over the wall to make sure that no funny business is going on. Huge wave in the bottom lane. Camille and Irelia are gonna deal with it. And now we can just reset. Now you notice that at this point I basically have not gotten my enchant. Yet I finally get myself a stasis. Now I get myself a stasis because obviously I'm the one carrying the game. I'm 9, 2, and 14, doing the most damage on the team. And here Camille was saying that I should take the red buff, and I agree. But she took the red buff and then she said that. So I have no idea what she's trying to do here. So anyways, I'm just gonna go mid to defend the mid lane. And now at this point we're truly into like the late game Senna, so we will be doing a ton of damage now. We're basically almost full build. So here we help out the Seraphine to take the blue buff, and we're really basically almost full build. The whole enemy team is gathered in the mid lane, and so are we, so it seems like a fight's gonna break out sooner or later. And Gwen has already used the Shroud, so that is important cooldown to take note of. So Gwen doesn't have the Shroud anymore, she's no longer gonna be immune. And here, the fight starts with the Darius initiating onto the Galio. I chunk out the Galio a pretty good amount. Vi comes in for the flank, but we turn around to actually go for the Vi instead. Now here, Galio ultimate actually blocks me off completely. Really good ult by the Galio. I have to go the long way around so that I don't actually get destroyed by the Galio ultimate. Here, Gwen gets CC'd by me, stasis, but still dies eventually to Senna. And here, not to Senna, to Seraphine. I don't know why I keep messing up the names here. Seraphine is in trouble, so here I'm gonna have to help her out. I get the exhaust onto the Lucian. Lucian's almost dead. I'm gonna flash over to dodge the ult and Q through the Galio to kill the Lucian, then auto attack the Galio. Pretty proud of that play there. Got the angle completely right. I managed to Q through the Galio to actually hit the Lucian and pick up the kill. So here, really nice catch by Irelia. I'm gonna chain CC with my root and chunk out the Thresh, of course, with the help of the Divine Thunderer, Black Cleaver, and the Giant Slayer. So here, I'm just gonna ult the Irelia to help give her the shield, so that she doesn't actually die to the tower. And we actually managed to get a clean ace onto the enemy team. Now this allows us to actually push all the way to the inhibitor. Now only Gwen is respawning because Gwen died at the very beginning of the fight. But Gwen as a single person is really difficult to defend against the three of us. She pops the Shroud, but we're not really even attacking her, so we don't actually really care about that at all. We're gonna get the mid lane, the bot lane inhibitor, and after that we can just back off. So enemy blue buff is up. We're gonna help the Seraphine get the enemy blue buff as well. We have a control ward in the area, so the enemies do know that we are here. And Baron is up, so I'm gonna actually just try to attack the skull to actually just get the skull vision of the Baron. Now Gwen actually goes in by herself here, and I realize that, so I cancel my back immediately. I ult over to get damage onto the Gwen, and we are able to pretty much one-shot the Gwen before she can even do pretty much anything. So they are able to pick up the kill onto the Vi as well, and this pretty much allows us to pick up a free Baron. The enemy jungle is down, as well as another member of the enemy team. Really hard for them to contest, so we are gonna just straight up go for the Baron here. And yeah, so here Lucian tries to use the culling to sort of, you know, mess with us, but you know, we know that he's there, so we're gonna just zone him away. He can't really actually do anything. In the meantime, our team is finishing off the Baron, and we do get the Baron. So I have completely no mana, so I'm actually gonna reset here. I know my team is on the chase, which you can see here. I ult across to help my team out, but I really can't do all that much without mana. I mean, my basic attacks do a decent amount of damage, but needed to get back to, of course, get my mana restored, and now I'm at full build. So now I have, you know, all my items. I was gonna sell the support item to actually get another item, but I don't quite have enough gold for that yet, as you guys can see over here. So we don't end up actually doing that eventually because the game ends. So here I have like quadruple cannon minion just blasting the tower. So I'm only gonna need a little bit of auto attacks to actually kill this tower, and I am able to get it real quickly. In the meantime, my team is actually on Elder Dragon. The enemy team pretty much cannot contest at this point because they have two waves just pushing in, and and literally they can't do anything, and not the waves will pretty much just end the game for them. Now Vi actually ends up tanking the wave and actually gets executed by our super minion wave, so that kind of sucks for her. We are on to the last inhibitor that's actually still standing. So we are able to pick up that final inhibitor that's still standing. And basically the game is won here. We have Baron, we have Elder Dragon, we have triple inhibitor. There is completely no way that we lose this. So we're just gonna farm last couple of kills onto the enemy team. There goes Thresh, there goes Gwen. Souls just dropping left and right, which obviously does not matter since the game is gonna end. So here we have it. As you can see, it's a super hard carry performance from us on Senna. And as usual, of course, I'll leave you guys with the stats. So thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.